Peace to the family, peace, love, and light. Please bear with me as I get everything situated and organized. I have to simultaneously launch on Instagram. Mineral Ministries, episode 158. Please make yourselves comfortable. What up, Dunn? Yes, what up, Dunn? What up, Dunn? We number one. 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 The Contagion of Championships. I want to speak about it today. Today is a special episode launching at 11:44. And today's program is titled The Empire Strikes Back. Victory Lap. And we're going to speak about the spiritual implications, yes, of David defeating Goliath in the same way that President Trump, whose birthday is today, the same way that Trump attempted to harness the energy of the champion city of New York, it's the same way that we're going to tap into the contagion of championship. And we're going to understand the spiritual implications of what bearing witness to such an epic championship means for the spirit and the minds, the revolutionary spirit, should I say, of the underdogs. Yes, Trump and Dolan are definitely friends, and Trump and Dolan are definitely part of the same technocratic surveillance state that represents the levels and the layers of oppression that we just witnessed, that there's a spiritual approach to break that glass ceiling and come from underneath whatever that particular scourge of pressure of oppression is. It also is a very key time to watch and to discuss the overlapping principalities of what empire means, right? Because you have the empire of the underdogs, you have the empire of those who are children of the light. And then you have the artificial empire, which represents the corporations, everything that Game 3 represented, all the way down to Jay-Z being courtside, as opposed to Game 4 with Nas being courtside. Even though Taylor Swift was there, she's not a native. Wu-Tang at halftime representing the grit and the spirit. Grit is something that you cannot practice for. Grit is something that you can't cosplay. And grit is something that you can't script either. So while everyone has their observations about games being rigged, right? When do we take time to speak about the spiritual rigging? When do we take time to speak about the symbolic rigging? When do we take time to speak about decoding the mythos so we can extract the fable from what it is that we are bearing witness to when we see David defeat Goliath? So I want to take us scripturally into scripture, into the text, align with 614 chapter and verse, and we'll see what we can extract from the overlapping compounding messages that come with the contagion of championship. The fact that we are bearing witness to a victory lap that has not been achieved in my lifetime. And me being a native New Yorker, we have to understand that the ethos of what a New Yorker is, right, is that we carry a championship spirit, but we never had the chip. So it's almost like we've been faking it until we made it. And mama, we made it. So yes, if there was a script that was presented, we saw the flipping of the script. If there was a script that was implemented, because I was inboxed and DM'd a multitude of people who said that they had the script, right? The script did not play out like that. We saw spirit take over, and we saw the spontaneity of spirit that brought forth victory in the land of Texas, when we already is like middle fingers to the energy and the spirit of what Texas represents, going up against the undomesticated, unregulated, and unscripted energy of New York negativity, my nigga. You understand me? Because that this is the motherfucking fire horse with no saddle. This also is showing you the difference between symbolism of what something can be packaged and presented as versus the actual thing, the undergirding energy that represents the motif of the time. Case in point, what I'm speaking about is you had the Spurs, right? And people immediately went to the motif to say, this is the year of the fire horse. So being that it's the Spurs, automatically that motif connects to the fire horse. So it's already given. I know who's going to win because the Spurs are going to line up to the fire horse. But the definition of what they said the fire horse energy will represent this year is they said it's not the packaging of something, it's not the naming of something that makes it align with the energy that's present in this time, right? It's actually embodying that thing. So the fire horse is a symbolism, energetic signature for something that has momentum. Momentum. So when the Spurs won and they were going up against the Knicks, they were going up against a team that had an unprecedented amount of momentum, right? They had that ashe on them. They just came off sweeping 4-4. You understand? They had the 4-4 on them, and that orange and blue was activated, and they had the momentum, they had the upswing to roll through and defeat any and everything in their presence, because they were like NBA Jam. When you activate it, he's on fire. That orange sacro was popping. That blue sacro was popping. Right? They was doing what they say and saying what they do, and they was getting the job done. And there was no partying after. Brunson wasn't cracking a smile because the job wasn't done. Right? On to the next one. Step by step, chipping away, piece by piece, the way that the marathon is won is you put one foot in front of the other until you are at the summit. You're not finished until the game is over. It's always going to come down to the final second. The game is always being played as against script versus the spirit. The script is the AI version. It's what's prompted, right? It's the variables that are already accounted for. Go according to the script. And then there's the variables that you can account for, and that's where the grit comes in, and that's when you go off script because spirit takes over. Okay, and we all bore witness to it in real time. So that momentum that we're speaking about, with them coming off of 4-4, they swept 4, and then they swept the 76ers, because this is the 250-year anniversary of the quote unquote United States of America, which gets inaugurated in New York and in Philadelphia initially. These were the capitals initially. So New York overtakes Liberty, which is Philly, Shake a Mexum, right? Swallows it whole, right? And then they go and they battle the other horse motif, which is OKC, which represents the thunder horse. Not just the fire horse, the thunder horse, right? Coming out of Indian Trail and Indian land. OKC representing a very indigenous, if you will, aboriginal spirit of the land of oil, right? Because the oil motif is going to play into this heavily, right? And then they sweep them, eat them up, right? So they got the 4-4 sweep. Then they get into the finals, right? And they eat food in Texas back to back on the land of oil in Texas now. So you go from the land of oil in Oklahoma to the land of oil in Texas. New York representing the empire or the empire state. Remember, it's the tale of two cities, so we have to share what New York represents. It represents the empire in terms of industrial capitalism, right? And the empire because it's the crowning piece on the tripartite crown that, quote unquote, the queen represents, right? By way of Rome. So you got DC, you got New York, and you got the Vatican, right? And they all have their place. They all have their place. But New York is central to it because it's the financial center. So it represents Wall Street. It represents the financial, represents the financials of the empire, if you will. But it's also the crown jewel because of where it geographically is and what it represents as being the land of the Lenape, as being the home of Seneca village, of being, you know, that magical island that it represents and what it is. But it also for us is, it's our heart, it's our spirit. It's where the physical gold is represented underneath 55 Water Street, down by Wall Street. They said this amount of gold that goes from the floor to the ceiling and it stretches 3 blocks and it goes all the way underneath the World Trade Center. They showed you this in the movie Die Hard 3 when they were taking the gold out after they blew the building up. And then in real life, what happened? The NYPD was fighting the fire department because when they blew the buildings up, they were in the basement and they found the gold bars and they were fighting, right? And they were putting them in dump trucks and transporting them out of there is what was said. So the gold at the base of Manhattan represents the physical gold. The gold at the crown of Manhattan represents Harlem, which is the ethereal or the spiritual gold. It is the physical gold by way of the people, right? The people in Harlem, when you go to Harlem, if it's If it's 90 degrees on the island of Manhattan, when you go to Harlem, it's 95 degrees. But when you go to 125th Street, it will be 97 degrees. Everybody can attest to this. This from New York that knows that 125th Street is always the hottest corridor in the city of New York and in the island of Manhattan and in the county or the village of Harlem. 125th is always the hottest. It conducts the most electricity. New York City, or Manhattan specifically, is built on a grid. And underneath the grid, underneath Harlem, is two rivers. So is water underneath it, and it's sitting on black quartz. So the piezoelectricity of the people and the amount of buildings that are sitting on top of Manhattan is always making it a conductor of currents. Hence the fact that Manhattan is the hub of finances or currency. That's why it is what it is. So there's a contingency of what that represents in terms of the titans of industries or what have you, of which you can say President Donald J. Trump, who turns 80 today, would be their president, right? He's vying for the survival of hegemony, or specifically for the US dollar, which is what? Which is hedged on oil. Hence the fact that, like I said, OKC and Texas were the main opponents of New York City Knicks, which represent blue collar, which represents the old dollar. But there's about to be a financial shift, and it's going digital, it's going crypto, right? And Donald J. Trump is in charge of that play, and they're about to pull the lever, right? So there's a lot going on when we see the overlapping narratives that are taking place with the New York City victory. It's a victory for corporate, but it's also a victory for the spirit of the city. It's also a victory for the small guys, also a victory for the blue collar. It's also a victory to every New Yorker who has tethered themselves, right? Who has, in so many words, you know, they've coupled their own existence, if you will. Like our entire lifeline looks like a Knicks season. Shit crazy. You know what I'm saying? Our emotional central nervous system is circuit wired to the motherboard of New York City sports, but specifically Knicks seasons, my nigga. So when you be seeing New Yorkers and they got Twitch and they short with motherfucking like their emotions and their energy, is because they got PTSD from being hardwired emotionally to the central nervous system of New York City sports apparatus, of which the New York Knicks have always been the crown jewel. So this has a potential to unleash an energy on this planet that is unprecedented in terms of the celebration. And I want to speak about the contagion of championships, right? People who have been faking it until they make it. And I'm talking about motherfuckers that have held their breath for 50 years for this moment. For them to now actually be champions, for them to actually now be able to identify with an actual chip, and they no longer have to fake it, the world is about to see some unprecedented creativity, art, input, and attitude that they have that you got to strap in. But this upswelling of energy of the people being activated, they're going to need to be this active come this summer, because this is when they're going to get their backs pushed to the wall and they have to be reminded who they are. And right now, that's taking place. The Puerto Rican Day Parade is taking place. So New York is best effective unified, right? When we understand the totality of all of our parts, because sports is what brings the city together. Sports is the bridge that we have been able to build where we're able to dialogue with one another. We're going to be side by side with Jews, Italians, Puerto Ricans, and you can't change that. You feel me? We're all locked in spirit with victory. So if we ever had an opportunity to gain some aspect of spiritual or political footing when it's conducive to us to be strategic, right? When people are going to be willing to meet our demands when they see our energy united, my nigga, it's going to be terrifying to those that want to control the uncontrollable, to those that want to predict variables against things that are unpredictable, to those that want to remove grit out of the equation. You can't. You understand? The motherfucking cat is out the bag. And we have to be able to amplify this energy in real time during disclosure to remind motherfuckers that, yes, there's mutants amongst us. There's mutants among us. You understand me? There's Davids among us that can slew Goliaths. But we definitely got some Goliaths amongst these motherfucking midgets. You understand me? We definitely got some Goliaths amongst these midgets. And sometimes those Goliaths come in small packages like Jalen Brunson. So don't overlook who can be the potential champion, because it's not about the package. It's not about the package. Pause. Right? Shout out to Diddy, right? Because Diddy, they might give you a furlough to do the motherfucking party out here, nigga. Look, this shit unpredictable. It's unpredictable, my nigga. We're on the other side of the other side. We're on the other side of disclosure, my nigga. While the distractions is going on, and they just put the alien in the box to show, just on some AI shit, just on some alien shit, you're gonna have to stand on human supremacy right now, my nigga. Yeah, even if you got a Diddy, nigga, you gotta feel like you a Biggie, nigga. That's where it's at. You gotta have that motherfucking energy, that amplification. If you got 2 inches, nigga, you gotta motherfucking grab that shit right now. And stand up for humanity, nigga, you are enough. Let me tell you, you are enough. So that's what it's given. Some New York shit, man. Right? Niggas was faking it until they made it. Get my motherfucking microphone out here. God damn it. Yeah. Niggas was faking it until they made it. Now we here. Started from the bottom. Nigga. So it's bigger than, you know what I'm saying? No pun intended on what they're trying to make it seem like. We're gonna start this in Psalms 144 because this is an ode to David. You know what I'm saying? That David energy, nigga. Yeah. This brings us together because we can't share a New York Knicks victory without it being a New York Knicks victory too. So this shit brings the city together. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be at the table for a few days next week. There's nothing we can do about it. So this is Psalms 144. We'll open up with this. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teacheth my hand to war, my fingers to fight. And look, man, this is a rally cry. I'm talking to all you motherfuckers who need, you know, I mean, the spirit is already activated. But for those that need a reminder of what victory feels like and it tastes like, you also got to have the willingness to go through the battle. You also have to have the tenacity, the veracity. You also got to have an appetite for competition. You got to have that Aries. You got to have that spirit in you. You got to be an Olympian. You got to rise to the occasion. You only get to talk like this. You only get to take the victory lap if you have been victorious, right? So when you need to go into battle, you read this to yourself. Because understand that your foe may potentially be gassing himself up with these words to crush you. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. My goodness and my fortress, my high tower and my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust, who subdueth my people under me. Lord, what is man that thou takest knowledge of him? Or the son of man that thou makest account of him? Man is like vanity. His days are as a shadow that passeth away. Bow thy heavens, O Lord, and come down, touch the mountains, and they shall smoke. Cast forth lightning and scatter them. Shoot out thine arrows and destroy them. Send thine hand from above. Rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. I will sing a new song unto thee, O God, upon a harp and an instrument of 10 strings. I will sing praises unto thee. If it is he that giveth salvation unto kings, who delivereth David his servant from the hurtful sword. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hands is a right hand of falsehood, that our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace, that our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our streets, that our oxen may be strong to labor, that there be no breaking in nor going out, that there be no complaining in our streets. Happy is that people that is in such a case. Yes, happy is that people who's God, who's the Lord. So, yeah, that's the opening Psalms 144. And if you're new to Mineral Ministries, right, we drop gems over here. And we go into scripture aligned with the Gregorian calendar day. So today is June 6th. No, June 14th, 6:14. So we'll start in Genesis 6:14, right? And we go through the whole Old and New Testament, and we see if we can extract any overlapping message, right? If we could bring a dead letter religion into a living testament and see what message it got for us today, especially building, giving some context as to what we're going through in the present moment. It's a challenge that we always take. Let's see what we can find. And we always seem to find some amazing gems. Okay, so let's begin. This is non-denominational, mostly conversational, sometimes confrontational. I'm Minister Moreland. This is Mineral Ministries, and you were invited to take a journey of a lifetime. Here we go. Genesis 6:14. Noah builds the ark. Ha! And God said to Noah, the end of all living creatures has come before me, because through them the earth is full of violence. Now behold, I will destroy both them and the earth. Make for yourselves an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and coat it with pitch inside and out. And this is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Get some of this. It's good God of stomach teeth. So why is that significant that we would start off in Genesis 6:14 and it would be about Noah building the ark? Because the flood is a direct reaction and a response to the earth being overflowed by Nephilim, or the giants. And we started this conversation by saying that we're speaking about the motif of David defeating Goliath, or the giant, right? At the same time, on the same weekend that Disclosure Day has come out, right? At the same time that Trump is being pictured with 7-foot Nordics, and people are asking, is that the Pleiadians? Who are these giants? What are these giants? And we just saw through the Nick series that, sometimes very a large spirit comes in a very small package, and it's not about the presentation of the dichotomy of sizes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the unexpected could take place if it has more grit, more tenacity, and more ways to run circles around something that is being portrayed, right, as invincible, such as the giant. And this was the narrative. This is what started out in the book of Enoch, originally speaking about these giants, the Nephilim, and it culminates in Genesis with God bringing the flood and Noah, what have you. Right? Remember, they just came out with fable mythos. Anthropic did. The whole world is enraptured in this mythos fable about the flood and what it means, and it's wrapped in symbolism, and it's told as allegorical narrative that requires a lot of historical context if people want to unpack it. But nonetheless, here we go. And they gave specifications of the build out of it, right? 300 cubits long, 500 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. This is the specification of the ark that Noah is to build. Okay. We'll do a cross reference and then we'll keep it moving. 1 Kings 6:5. Against the walls of the temple in the inner sanctuary, Solomon built a chamber structure around the temple in which he constructed the side rooms. The bottom floor was 5 cubits wide, the middle floor 6 cubits, and the third floor 7 cubits. He also placed offset ledges around the outside of the temple so that nothing would be inserted into these walls. So, just the fact that there's always been specifications of these build outs, and they always have esoteric overlapping implications rather than just them being instructions just to build a structure. Genealogies of Moses and Aaron. We are in Exodus 6:14. These were the heads of their fathers' houses. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, were Hanok and Palu, Hezron and Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jakin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. These were the clans of Simeon, and they go, on and all forth about genealogy. One Chronicles 5:1. These were the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel. Though he was the firstborn, his birthright was given to the sons of Joseph, son of Israel, because Reuben defiled his father's bed. So he is not reckoned according to birthright. Damn. Whew. It's crazy. Leviticus 6:14. The grain offering. Now this is the law of grain offering. Aaron's son shall present it before the Lord in front of the altar. The priest is to remove a handful of fine flour and olive oil together with all of the frankincense from the grain offering and burn the memorial portion on the altar as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. So again, instructions about how to give the Lord its offering. And this particular offering is arranged in grain. Okay. Numbers 28:5 is a cross reference, along with a tenth of an ephah of fine flour as a grain offering, mixed with a quarter hin of oil from pressed olives. This is a regular burnt offering established at Mount Sinai as a pleasing aroma, a food offering to the Lord. The drink offering accompanying each lamb shall be a quarter hin. Pour out the offering of fermented drink to the Lord in the sanctuary area. So yeah. God liked him some kombucha too. Let's go to Numbers 6:14. The Nazarite vow. Now this is the law of the Nazarite. When this time of separation is complete, he must be brought to the entrance to the tent of meetings, and he is to present an offering to the Lord of an unblemished year-old male lamb as a burnt offering, an unblemished year-old female lamb as a sin offering, and an unblemished ram as a peace offering, together with their grain offerings and drink offerings, in a basket of unleavened cakes made from fine flour mixed with oil and unleavened wafers coated with oil. So again, these are the instructions of how to create a ebo, if you will, for the deity that they were um, making offerings to, right? For whatever reason. And they were very explicit about the nature in which they had to prepare their offerings. You feel me? I don't hear these conversations anymore, so I don't know. Like, is it still being done? Has it been amended? Leviticus 9:2. He said to Aaron, take for yourself a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, both without blemish, and present them before the Lord. Then speak to the Israelites and say, take a male goat for a sin offering, a calf and a lamb, both a year old and without blemish, for a burnt offering, an ox and a ram for a peace offering to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you. Right? There was a lot of you know, a lot of transacting taking place, and you pay it in blood. Deuteronomy 6:14, the greatest commandment. Fear the Lord your God, serve him only, and take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the people around you. For the Lord your God, who is amongst you, is a jealous God. Otherwise, the anger of the Lord your God will be kindled against you, and he will wipe you off of the face of the earth. Hallelujah. Um, Capiche? Y'all need me to repeat that? Sounded pretty explicit, didn't it? Sounded pretty cut and dry. Yeah. But then they got whole American Idols. For this to be such a quote unquote Christian country, you know what I'm saying? The things that they push through their pop culture and everyone seems to participate in, they be hella counter Christian. Okay. Jeremiah 35:15. Again and again I have sent you all my servants, the prophets, proclaiming, turn now, each of you, from your wicked ways and correct your actions. Do not go after other gods to serve them. Live in the land that I have given to you and your fathers, but you have not inclined your ear or listened to me. Joshua 6:14. The walls of Jericho. And the seven priests carrying seven ram's horns kept marching ahead of the ark of the Lord and blowing the horns. The armed troops went in front of them, and the rear guard followed the ark of the Lord while the horns kept sounding. So on the second day, they marched around the city once and returned to the camp. They did this for 6 days. Then on the seventh day, they got up at dawn and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner. That was the only day they circled the city 7 times. Okay. Exodus 29. 6 days you shall labor and do all of your work, but the seventh day of the Sabbath to the Lord your God, on which you must not do any work, neither you, nor your sons or daughters, nor your manservants or maidservants or livestock, nor the foreigner within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and the sea and all that is in them, but on the seventh day he rested. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set us apart as holy. So if we're speaking about energy signatures and cycles, because six is a ring, right? It's a concentric ring. So that's almost like how you would stack energy. You know what I'm saying? Hence the fact that beehives are created in hexagonal shapes, because the hexagon as a six-sided shape is the most energy compatible shape in nature, right? So six-sided things or six representing rings are the most energy compatible structures, if you will. So if you're doing something now 7 days and you're breaking the energy pattern that's created in 6 days, because 6 days is 144 hours, just like how you build with square feet. A square feet is 144 inches, 1 square foot. So in order to build out reality, in order to build out the cubic matrix, and the cube is a box and the box has 6 sides, right? The whole essence of the cube is six. The whole essence of the cube is six. The whole essence of the cube is six. You understand? And the cube is 144. So it's the same way 6 days out of the week is 144 hours. That's how you build something. Then you release the pressure valve on the seventh day. If energetically you are continuing, you have a continuum going into the seventh day, and the energy signature is reading that is outside of the margins of what's considered necessary to create an energy ring through 6 days of work, then that has a resonance because it's heavier than the regular ring that's created in a 6 day cycle. So that 7 day commitment breaks the mold, and that 7 day commitment tugs on materialism or reality, because it's showing that this person has transcended the quote unquote the parameters or the measure, the calculated measurement of what man is told should be his toil according to what God does. But God don't take no days off. That shit is false. And it would be dangerous for us to think that. Right? Once again, these are allegories that are telling narrative that we're taking literal, and we are hedging our entire lives upon them. Now, if you're working out, if you're bodybuilding, if you're doing weight maintenance, you can only work out 6 days out of a 7 day week, and you have to take a day off. You know what I'm saying? But that day off that you take is still for your body to recover. Your body's still working, your body's still restoring, and it's rebuilding. So you release the pressure valve for the rebuilding, for the inhale and the exhale process, but you don't ever hold your breath all the way through. So doing something without taking no pause, gaps, or no breaks shows a level of resilience and commitment where you gain the universe's attention and you start shifting things. Okay, that's the magic of this whole Jericho wall situation. And this is what I'm speaking about with the Knicks, with the momentum. For the people who always say that the game is rigged, right? And they're excluding, and I'm not saying that there's certain aspects of the game that are not rigged, but what I'm also saying is that we have to evidence when we see them going off script and when we see spirit taking over. And you just can't be transfixed it. Man has a hand in everything, and he outwits God in everything that he does, because he has these plans or these agendas that he wrote at the beginning of the season, and everything's supposed to fall in line with that shit. Nothing moves like that. He's not in control of all things. You're giving him too much credit. We watch spirit take over. We watch grit. We watch tenacity. We watch what it means to be a New Yorker, crystallized and personified into a team captain that was able to spread that ethos over his team. His team became New York. And as a result, when they become triumphant, New York has the ability to access a portal of victory. And what I'm saying is that if you don't access it and utilize it, others are going to attempt to what? Suck in the loosh. and turn it into a Hayugan against you, nigga. This is an ethereal data center for you to harness, right, into your Ethernet of what it means to be triumphant as David versus Goliath. You could be a Jew for a day, my nigga. Because watch what they do with it. It's going to bring them $1 trillion commercially, right? On the capitalism side of things, as an industrial technocrat, Dolan, you know, he's like number 2 in the surveillance state next to goddamn Peter Thiel. But it's going to come down to the very last second of the game, my nigga. And you got to be on the court playing with all of your heart, right? And you cannot be willing to miss a second or miss a shot because they all count. Feel me? So so I'm saying that to say it would have been in the interest of corporate to have the games, at least one series with the Knicks go 7 if they were attempting to what? Make a money grab or pump a particular financial current into the city. They would stretch the game. They would stretch it out. They would stretch ad sales. They would stretch hotel stays. They would stretch sales on goddamn food, restaurants, theater, flights, right? They would stretch the people. What better way to stretch them? This is not a corporate play. They went off the script. This is spirit that's carrying them. This is the fire horse spreading its wings and what? Siding with the team that has the momentum, that has the spirit of wanting to win by any and all means, not by cheating. You can't cheat New York to a victory. New York, in my observations, bro, my nigga. Yeah, ask the bookies what the play was. This was not in the cards. They even said New York in 6 because they was going to come back to home and do it the right way. That wasn't in the cards for them to win in Texas yesterday. Come on now. Yeah, this was Grandma Monum. This is the prayer. This is the power of prayer. And people discredit it. They was like in game 4 making fun of the fact that they was praying. And I'm like, it's unified prayer, my nigga. This shit was Abrahamic. All his children was under one roof. And they was huddled in prayer. And collectively, whatever bat line went to whatever deity, nigga, that shit was ringing off of the motherfucking ringer. Game 4 in them last seconds, nigga. Allah's bat phone was ringing. Jehovah's bat phone was ringing. Lucifer's bat phone was ringing. Because, yeah, the niggas that connected to the bookie, whatever deity they pray to, right? Obatala's ears was ringing. Every fucking body's phone was going off, nigga. They got the whole Paulo dude to come to the Knicks game and said that he put the curse on the goddamn opponents and made sure they was going to win. Nigga, this is all a co-effort. This is an American God's effort, nigga. And then the Nigerian, because the Olus and the Ogus and the OGs and all, nigga, everybody's bringing the Cubans. Everybody bringing the Santorians with Calvaro, all it. Niggas, everything, nigga. Yeah, and we praying for Cuba and Haiti and all of that. And then they busted their guns in the World Cup, man. Like, yo, like, nah, indigenous people are standing up globally, nigga. This is all they needed. That MAGA energy that Texas represented got defeated. Got swept. That Carmelo Anthony energy of the number 7, the God body, black man is God energy, my nigga, New York City. Stand the fuck up. We shall not be denied, man. Justice for Carmelo. Judges 6:14. Please, my Lord, Gideon replied, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? This is what we be saying. And where are all his wonders of which our fathers told us, saying, has not the Lord brought us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of Midian. The Lord turned to him and said, go in the strength you have and save Israel from the hands of Midian. Am I not sending you? Please, my Lord, Gideon replied, how can I save Israel? Indeed, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the youngest in my father's house. 1 Chronicles 28:20. David also said to Solomon, his son, be strong and courageous and do it. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord God, my God, is with you. He will neither fail you nor forsake you before all of the work for the service of the house. The Lord is finished. Right? So Jalen Brunson's father was initially in the house that Wilt built, right? Madison Square Garden. And his father did not feel like his career was something that he could be proud of. He felt like he was overlooked. He felt like he was the perpetual underdog. He felt like he didn't have the opportunity to prove himself. He was incomplete. And then he has a son, and his son looks up to his father, and they make a connection. And his son becomes a champion, not just yesterday, last night. No, his son was a champion in high school. His son was a champion in college. His son always showed grit and determination. His son was only 6 foot whatever, and they said that that's not enough to make it in a sport that attempts to have a template on what victory is guaranteed as. Oh, if you 7.5 inches, then, you know what I'm saying, it's a given that you're going to take it. And that's not the case. Yes, this man was a 2-time champion at Villanova. Yes, a Jesuit Catholic school, but nonetheless. And then they tapped into the energy of Pope Leo. Now, this is a real conversation, because I was over here telling you about the real energy, the connections between sports and pontiffs or deific figures on this particular plane of existence, how religion and sports share the same altar, my nigga. I have told you about this repeatedly and put all of my cards on the table to show you how we have participated in the removal of popes and the bringing in of new popes, not just even excluding Pope Pablo. Just commentating and explaining to you the process through which how the Super Bowl was responsible for the ushering in of Pope Francis and Pope Leo. And then USA Today ran with the same narrative and told you that it was a pontiff Super Bowl. And then the pontiff gets himself involved with this, right? And Spike Lee shows up with the jersey, but the pontiff was already involved through Villanova through these 3 players. Yes. Then the Shaolin monks from Shaolin Island came through in game 4 to eradicate the energy of the Joker that shows up in Gotham that wants to throw the Batman energy off. This was a very mythical series that we took place bearing witness to. And there's a lot to unpack here, because the illest of lessons often show up on the central grand stage by way of symbolism. And it's our job to turn water to wine. What does that mean, Brother Blue? It means that water is the literal. It's the shit that we're looking at on the screen. Yeah, we're looking out, we're seeing the game, and everything is what it appears to be on the surface. But when you start decoding, when you start making sense, when you start unpacking these symbols, when you start making these connections, then you turn water to wine. And people have a tendency then to do what? Then they get drunk off the wine. No, you got to master your high. You understand me? Stay sane. Keep your eyes open because it's just signaling of things to come. Prepare yourself. Don't take a break. Ride the wave in the momentum, right? Get on board this fire horse and let the fire horse spread its wings. What momentum do you have? What do you need a championship in? Right? What have you been attempting to do for 50 plus years that has not cracked for you yet? My nigga, it's not over yet. Yes. Yes, Leach, we lived long enough to see a black president, right? We survived C-19, and we lived long enough to see the Knicks bring the chip back home. This is unprecedented. This is unprecedented times. It means that anything can happen. It released the shackles for the potentiality. I'm telling y'all, in a way in which you don't yet understand, nor can you appreciate. It has to happen. I get it. But I'm telling you, as a native New Yorker, there's something that has been unleashed. A lock on the cage got broke, my nigga. If they had put us in the pot, if we got put in the pot on some spiritual shit, the pot got cracked last night. And the motherfucking genie is out the bottle. So the impossible is now possible, and that variable becomes very much accessible. And it's going to bring about, just like in 73 when they won, hip hop was born. You're going to see the birth of something that's so unprecedented, so uncalculated, and so uncalled for that it's going to be our next multi-trillion-dollar industry. Born out of this victory, born out of the hubris, right? Of New Yorkers no longer having to fake it because they finally made it, my nigga. No. You're gonna get excellence. You're gonna get excellence from it too. You feel me? Yeah, now y'all gotta deal with Fat Joe for the rest of y'all lives. You're just gonna have to deal with it. You're gonna have to deal with Fat Joe for the rest of y'all lives. You're gonna have to stomach that shit. Of course. Yeah. Legit mean like spread love is the Brooklyn way type ish. Like putting everybody on. No, I'm not even talking about nothing illicit. I'm talking about the freedom of creativity. I'm talking about unlocking potentiality. I'm talking about showing the star seeds that they are enough. I'm talking about never talking down to the small guy again. I'm talking about their inability to bottle up the unbottleable. I'm talking about the impossibility to domesticate the ninja. I'm talking about you can't tell me nothing for 99 years. I'm talking about that type of energy brings about a level of creativity. Yes. You can never tell a melanated seed that they are not enough. You feel me? It's a beautiful thing. And again, we might need to have a town hall panel so the rest of the world can understand, with men and women in the audience and their children, right? Speaking euphorically about what this means for us emotionally as New Yorkers and how it is healing our central nervous system, because our shit has been bound in knots for a while. And I am not speaking with hyperbole at all. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Like, we physically carry the effects of our emotional attachment to the New York Knicks in our physical body. It's probably why niggas was cutting each other in the face with razors. I mean, the things that we were doing to one another was expressing a level of anger that was unprecedented. And a lot of that anger came from being let down, um, getting so close and then missing it. And then that was the story of our lives. That has been the story of so many people that have come from the city of dreams. So this is a catharsis. This is an ability for them to heal, for their parasympathetic nervous system to trust again, to believe again, to have faith again, to restore their faith, to restore their healing once their faith is restored, right? For the city to be more peaceful and hospitable, because the upswelling of love of what it means to be a New Yorker and what New Yorker means as a city to us, the valuation that comes from seeing yourself in ways again that you never saw it. The city understanding that it now has to hold space, so being more open and inviting to tourism as well as immigrants, because we are a city that represents all spectrums. You know what I'm saying? We are not a I was about to say we're not an yeah, we don't fuck with fans of other teams. So I can't say that we're not an excluded a city that practices exclusion. You know, you got to be a fan of the program, right? Because they like, who wouldn't love this? What is there not to love? Yeah. Let's read another chapter. 2 Samuel 6:14. All right, the ark brought to Jerusalem. When those carrying the ark of the Lord had advanced 6 paces, he sacrificed an ox and a fattened calf. And David, wearing a linen ephod, danced with all of his might before the Lord, while he and all of his house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and the sounding of the ram's horn. Exodus 28:4. These are the garments that they shall make: a breastplate, an ephod, a robe, a woven tunic, a turban, and a sash. They are to make these holy garments for your brother Aaron and his sons, so that they may serve me as priests. 1 Kings, right? 1 Kings. This is the day of David. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Let's see what echoes the book has about David. 1 Kings 6:14, the temple's interior. So Solomon built the temple and finished it. He lined the interior walls with cedar paneling from the floor of the temple to the ceiling, and he covered the floor with cypress boards. 1 Kings 7:51. So all of the work that King Solomon had performed for the house of the Lord was completed. And Solomon brought the items his father David had dedicated, the silver, the gold, and the furnishings, and he placed them in the treasures of the house of the Lord. Yeah, yo. I mean, whew, I have such a narrative to unpack about this game and the lead up to the game and how it ties into every single thing taking place and happening right now. You know, nothing is out of context, and we're never engaging in distraction. Like, I could watch the game and decipher world history and the signs of the times all in the same time, because in my paradigm everything is connected, you know, and I connect them all through one number, which is 44. So I'm never off. This shit ties to the blood moons all the way back to the first blood moons of 2014 and 2015. Remember, when I was speaking about the blood moons in 2014, I said that on April 6, 2014, Jay-Z was sitting courtside at a Nets game, and he was wearing the 5% chain courtside. And the New York Post had a thought piece about it, and another newspaper carried it. And this is when they started speaking about woke, right? They started speaking about Jay-Z belongs to a cult, and this cult is black supremacy cult, and they hate white people, and they think that the black man is, and they started talking about that then, and they started sounding the alarm, and the NBA got involved, And this is when, right after that, Adam Silver came in shortly. This was David Stern was leaving at this point. And then they said that they was concerned because he had a lot of connections with different NBA players. And in particular, they were speaking about Carmelo Anthony because Carmelo Anthony was also wearing the 5% chain. He was a member of the Nation of Gods of Earth. And on April 15th, 2014 is when the first blood moon kicked in. It was a tetrad blood moon, four blood moons in a row. And the first one kicked off, and that was the day that the porn tape came out for Mimi from Love and Hip Hop. Mimi was 44 years old at the time, and she had the whole world focused on her box. Remember, 44 is blood. It was a blood moon, a blood ritual. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is looking at in the same place where a woman has her moon. She was supposed to be the most innocent and sanitized one of the entire cast or what have you. And it was just a overlapping narrative about how we don't value our women, even those who we see have value in spaces where value is being decreased, like Love and Hip Hop at that time. That's when it was really getting ratchet. And right after that was the Don Sterling situation, right? When he started attacking black billionaires in particular and telling his the women that he was keeping, yo, don't bring them niggas to my game. I give you everything that you want. I even let you do what you want to do with other dudes here and there, but just don't bring them niggas to my game. And I'm like, the audacity. You got a basketball team in the city of LA and you don't want Magic Johnson there. And it started an unprecedented attack on melanated men in their masculinity, starting from the top down. They was hitting the Billionaires Boys Club, and the white boys was, in so many words, saying, we don't care how much money y'all got. Y'all niggas don't belong. You know what I'm saying? Y'all will never be part of the club. And you can't buy your way in. And the whole concept of what the rappers was telling us money represented, it was being challenged. And then that was challenging the facade of how they had their identity wrapped up. Cause it's like, yeah, nigga, like you'll never get in. You know what I'm saying? Money is not power in that world. Amongst people that got all of the money in the world that don't want you nowhere around them. So that started the march. So for this to come full circle now and Jay-Z to be right back in the news, right? With him attempting to get into his melanated conscientious bag or what have you with the afro and shit like that, trying to channel blue pill, right? With the spoken word and all of that. And then you got Carmelo Anthony right back in the news as well, by way of a young man with his exact name in Texas getting cast under the same light where they're like, yeah, we're not going for this. You feel me? We're not going for this. You know what I mean? We're attacking it in a bunch of different ways. You feel me? Um, everything is full circle. You know, Adam Silver's is we see where the NBA money was going, is funding the IDF. This is a fully joint operation with the same people who want your death and destruction, who are outside flaunting your birthright. You know, and to them, it's shut up and dribble. You know what I'm saying? You to them, you the entertainment. But you also mean you're more than that. But you got to know that, or at least it's on us to see it, because at the end of the day, it's all entertainment, right? But how you extract from it, what edutainment you extract, what information, what inspiration, that's on you. Just like you could be looking at a game and someone could be looking at it too, but they betting on it and they're extracting, rent money from it. You extracting a dopamine hit from it. It's different, but it's there to be extracted from because it's an arrangement. It's a pocket of energy. You know what I'm saying? It's spirit captured on camera. You know what I'm saying? Do with it what you shall. But don't knock people doing what they do with it if you fail or refuse to do anything at all with it. It's bigger than sports, y'all. 1 Chronicles 6:14. Let's get it. The descendants of Levi, Shalom. All right, we can skip this. I'm gym hunting right now so we can get through this. This is key. Solomon praises the Lord. 2 Chronicles 6. My bad. Solomon's prayer of dedication. Now Solomon has made a bronze platform 5 cubits long, 5 cubits wide, and 3 cubits high, and had placed it in the middle of the courtyard. He stood on it, knelt down before the whole assembly of Israel, spread out his hands toward heaven, and said, O Lord, God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven or on the earth, keeping your covenant of love and devotion with your servants who walk before you with all of their hearts. You have kept your promise to your servants, my father David. What you spoke with your mouth, you have fulfilled with your hands this day. This day. All right. Isaiah 56:6. And the foreigners who join themselves to the Lord to minister to him, to love the name of the Lord and to be his servants, all who keep his Sabbath without profaning it and who hold fast to my covenant. Ezra 6:14. The temple completed. In response, Tetaniah, the governor of the region west of the Euphrates, Shethar, Bozanah, and their associates diligently carried out what King Darius had decreed. So the Jewish elders built and prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah son of Iddo. They finished building according to the command of the God of Israel and the decrees of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And his temple was completed on the 3rd day of the month of Adar in the 6th year in the reign of King Darius. Let's go to Nehemiah. Nehemiah real quick. 6:14. Shambalat's conspiracy. And he had hired to intimidate me so that I would sin by doing as he suggested, so they can give me a bad name in order to discredit me. Oh my God, remember Tobiah and Shanballat for what they have done, and also Noadiah the prophetess and the other prophets who tried to intimidate me. Let's do this cross reference real quick. Ezekiel 13:17. Now, O son of man, set your face against the daughters of your people who prophesize out of their own imagination, prophesize against them, and tell them that this is what the Lord God says. Woe to the woman who sew magic charms on their wrists and make veils for the heads of people of every height in order to ensnare their souls. Will you ensnare the souls of my people but preserve your own? You have profaned me amongst my people for handfuls of barley and scraps of bread. By lying to my people who would listen, you have killed those who should not have died and spared those who should not have lived. You have killed those who should not have died and spared those who should not have lived. Hmm. Happy birthday to Donald J. Trump. Mordecai is honored. Esther 6:14. Haman told his wife Zeresh and all of his friends everything that had happened. His advisors and his wife Zeresh said to him, since Mordecai became before whom your downfall has begun is Jewish, you will not prevail against him, for surely you will fall before him. While they were still speaking with Haman, the king's eunuchs arrived and rushed him to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Let's go to Job. See what Job got to say. Job 6:14. Job replies, my complaints is just. Is there any help within me now that success is driven from me? A despairing man should have the kindness of his friend, even if he forsakes the fear of the Almighty. But my brothers are as faithless as wadis, as seasonal streams that overflow. Huh. Mm. Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Psalm 6. I ain't got no 14 in there. Let's go to Proverbs. Warnings against foolishness. Winking his eyes, speaking with his feet, and pointing with his fingers. With deceit in his heart, he devises evil. He continually sows discord. Therefore, calamity will come upon him suddenly. In an instant, he will be shattered beyond recovery. Damn. Somebody got it coming to them. James 3:14. But if you harbor bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast in it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder in every evil practice. Ecclesiastes. Whew. Skip that. Let's go to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah. You got a 6:13, no 6:14. Peace. Isaiah's commissions. Until the Lord has driven men far away, and the land is utterly forsaken. And though a tenth remains in the land, it will be burnt again. As the terebinth and the oak leave stumps when felled, so the holy seed will be a stump in the land. Damn. They be clearing shit out. Let's go to Jeremiah. 6:14. Jerusalem's final warning. For from the least of them to the greatest, all are greedy for gain. From prophet to priest, all practice deceit. They dress the wound of my people with very little care, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace at all. Are they ashamed of the abomination they have committed? Yup. No, they have no shame at all. They do not even know how to blush. So they will fall amongst the fallen. When I punish them, they will collapse, says the Lord. Now who does this sound like? For from the least of them to the greatest, all are greedy for gain. From prophet to priest, all practice deceit. They dress the wound of my people with very little care, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace at all. Are they ashamed of the abomination they have committed? No, they have no shame at all. They do not even know how to blush. So they will fall amongst the fallen. When I punish them, they will collapse, says the Lord. Ezekiel 34:4. You have not strengthened the weak, healed the sick, bound up the injured, brought back the strays, or searched for the lost. Instead, you have ruled them with violence and cruelty. I have to sit down and give the entire Vince Staple album a listen all at once. I've heard and read many reviews about it, but I haven't sat down with the entirety of the product. I will be doing that and doing a review on it. Thank you. Ezekiel 6:14. A remnant to be blessed. Then you will know that I am the Lord when their slain lie amongst their idols around their altars, on every high hill, on all of the mountaintops, and under every green tree and leafy oak, the places where they offered fragrant incense to all of their idols. I will stretch out my hand against them, and wherever they live, I will make the land a desolate waste, from the wilderness to Diblah. Then they will know that I am the Lord. Ezekiel 33:28. I will make the land a desolate waste, and the pride of her strength will come to an end. The mountains of Israel will become desolate, so that no one will pass through. Then they will know that I am the Lord, when I have made the land a desolate waste because of all of the abominations they have committed. Damn. Go from blessing the land to making it a waste. Daniel 6:14. Who's going to remediate it then? Daniel in the lion's den. Then they told the king, Daniel, one of the exiles from Judah, shows no regards for you, O king, or for the decree that you have signed. He still makes his petition 3 times a day. As soon as the king heard this, he was deeply distressed and set his mind on delivering Daniel, and he labored until sundown to rescue him. Then the men approached the king together and said to him, Remember, O king, that by the law of the Medes and Persians, no decree or ordinance established by the king shall be changed. All right, let's go to Hosea. Juneteenth coming up as well. Next Strong In will be in Piedmont Park. Please join us if you are in the Atlanta metro area. It's going to be a movie. We'll be making exact announcements about our locations and about festivities, but it's going to be lit. And it's going to be very celebratory. And you know, that spirit of New York is very alive right here in Atlanta as well. So many New Yorkers out here. The pride of Israel. You who rejoice in Lo-Debar and say, Did we not take Karnaim by our own strength? For behold, I will raise up a nation against you, O house of Israel, declares the Lord, the God of hosts, and they will oppress you from Lebo Hamath to the brook of the Arabah. Always putting his hands on his own children. Always putting his hands on his own children. No Jonah. Let's go to Micah. 1 second. Micah 6:14. Punishment of Israel. Therefore, I am striking you severely to ruin you because of your sins. You will eat but not be satisfied, and your hunger will remain with you. What you acquire, you will not preserve, and what you save, I will give to the sword. You will sow but not reap. You will press olives but not anoint yourselves with oil. You will tread grapes but not drink the wine. Damn. You know, these curses that have been put on the people and hoisted on the people, you know, for all people that have been under oppression, been under a curse, you know, tap into the frequency of victory. Yeah, come from underneath it. Unhoist the shackles from yourself. Like, stand up. The crown and the temple. This is Zechariah 6:14. Yes, he will build the temple of the Lord. He will be clothed in splendor, and he will sit on the throne and rule. And he will be a priest on his throne, and there will be peaceful counsel between the two. The crown will reside in the temple of the Lord as a memoriam to Halem, Tobijah, Jediah, and the gracious son of Zephaniah. Even those far away will come and build the temple of the Lord, and you will know that the Lord of hosts has sent me to you. This will happen if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God. Peace. Exodus 28:36. You ought to make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it as on a seal, holy to the Lord. Fasten to it a blue cord to mount it on the turban. It shall be on the front of the turban, and it will be worn on Aaron's forehead, so that he may bear the iniquity of the holy things that the sons of Israel consecrate with regard to all their holy gifts. It shall always be on his forehead, so that they may be acceptable before the Lord. Malachi, no Malachi. Let's get to Matthew. We're in the New Testament. We've crossed the rubric. Matthew, boom, 6. Let's dish it to 14. Here we got the Lord's Prayer. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive yours. All right. You guys know the prayer. You guys know the prayer. Let's go to Mark. Let's get through this thing. Y'all all right? 6:14. The beheading of John. They also drove out many demons and healed many of the sick, anointed them with oil. Now King Herod heard about this, for Jesus' name had become well known, and people were saying, John the Baptist has risen from the dead. This is why miraculous powers are at work in him. Others were saying, he is Elijah, and still others, he is a prophet like one of the prophets of old. Hallelujah. Let's go to Luke 6:14. 12 apostles. When daylight came, he called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them, whom he also designated as apostles: Simon, who he named Peter, and his brother Andrew, James and John, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James, son of Alphaeus, and Simon called the Zealot. Okay. So that's when he assembled his all-star team, right? He selected his team players. He's the team captain. He got his team in order. He was ready to play ball. John 6:14, feeding of the 5,000. Now he's performing his miracle or service to humanity. So they collected them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of 5 barley loaves left over by those who had eaten. When the people saw the sign that Jesus had performed, they began to say, truly, this is the prophet who is to come into the world. Then Jesus, realizing that they were about to come and make him king by force, withdrew again to a mountain by himself. Right? He wasn't cloud chasing. Acts 6:14. The arrest of Stephen, where they presented false witnesses who said, this man never stops speaking against this holy place and against the law. For we have heard him say that Jesus of Nazareth will destroy this place and change the customs that Moses handed down to us. All who were sitting in the Sanhedrin looked intently at Stephen, and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. Romans 6:14. Dead to sin, alive to God. Do not present the parts of your body to sin as instruments of wickedness, but present yourselves to God as those who have been brought from death to life, and present the parts of your body to him as instruments of righteousness. For sin shall not be your master, because you are not under law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under law, but under grace? Certainly not. Interesting. 1 Corinthians 6:14. Let's get it. Members of Christ. Food for the stomach and stomach for the food, but God will destroy them both. The body is not intended for sexual immortality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. By his power, God raised the Lord from the dead, and he will raise us also. Do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and unite them with a prostitute? Never. Yeah, I don't think they know God, because they over there trafficking their bodies and laying with prostitutes. They taking you into brothels. 2 Corinthians 6:14. Shit crazy. Do not be unequally yoked. As a fair exchange, I ask you as my children, open wide your hearts also. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership can righteousness have with wickedness? Or what fellowship does light have with darkness? What harmony is there between Christ and Belial? Or what does a believer have in common with an unbeliever? 1 John 3:7. This is deep. Little children, let no one deceive you. The one who practices righteousness is righteous, just as Christ is righteous. The one who practices sin is of the devil, because the devil has been sinning from the very start. This is why the Son of God was revealed to destroy the works of the devil. Anyone born of God refuses to practice sin, because God's seed abides in him. He cannot go on sinning because he has been born of God. So then, how are we born in sin? And why are we born in sin? Why are we born incomplete if we are complete children of the Creator, endowed with decision making that either determines what path we take? How can we ever be pure if we're born in sin? And how can we born in sin if you die for it? It's just so confusing. Paul's final warning: for the circumcised do not even keep the law themselves, yet they want you to be circumcised that they may boast in your flesh. But as for me, may I never boast except in the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ, through which the world has been crucified to me and I to the world. For neither circumcision nor uncircumcision means anything. What counts is a new creation. I mean, he came to do away with Moses' old law. Yeah, the Jews was pissed off. They're like, nigga. Ephesians 6:14. The armor of God. Therefore, take up the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you will be able to stand your ground. And having done everything to stand, stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness arrayed, and with your feet fitted with the readiness of the gospel of peace. Whew. Had that armor of God. Philippians. No Philippians. Collisions. Let's see what we got here. No collisions. Thessalonian. Let's see what we got here. No Thessalonians today. Thessalonians 2. No Thessalonians 2. 1 Timothy. See what we got. See what Timothy got for us. Timothy 6:14. 1 Timothy. Fight the good fight. I charge you in the presence of God, who gives life to all things, and to Christ, who made the good confession in his testimony before Pontius Pilate. Keep this commandment without stain or reproach until the appearance of our Lord Jesus Christ, which the blessed and only sovereign one, the King of kings and Lord of lords, will bring about in his own time. Don't wait on it. Don't wait up. Do what you've been doing. It's going to catch you like a thief in the night. Expect the unexpected. Live your lives. He got your GPS. He going to come get you. Don't worry now. Hebrews 6:14. Here we go. Winding down. God's unchangeable promise. When God made his promise to Abraham, since he had no one greater to swear by, he swore by himself, saying, I will surely bless you and multiply your descendants. And so Abraham, after waiting patiently, obtained the promise. Genesis 26:3. Stay in this land as a foreigner, and I will be with you and bless you, for I will give all of these lands to you and your offering, and I will confirm the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. Let's go to James. No James. No James. 1 John. No John. 2 John. No 2 John. Let's go to Jude. No Jude. Revelations. Let's take it to Revelations then. Close this thing out. Revelations 6:14. The sixth seal, terror. And the stars of the sky fell to the earth with unripe figs dropping from like unripe figs dropping from a tree shaken by a great wind. The sky receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. Then the kings of the earth, the nobles, the commanders, the rich, the mighty, and every slave and free man hid in the caves and amongst the rocks of the mountain. So that speaks of a great day of terror, a great reckoning. Things were off the hook. Things were shook up. Right? We don't want to conjure that image. We want to conjure an image of that in celebration. A celebration that is so loud, a celebration that is so, high energy, a celebration that is the relieving of so much stress, generations of stress, a celebration that embodies a victory that has been a lifetime coming, right? And that is what the world is about to see when New York takes the grand stage to celebrate its victory. As the tri-state participates in the celebration of this victory, because this is a unifying victory, not just for New York, not just for the boroughs, for the tri-state, and then beyond, for the East Coast, and then for this country, and then for our people, and for everyone who appreciates a good story, for everyone who digs a good mythos, you know what I'm saying? For everyone that's into the fable of life playing out on the grand stage, right? This is the one for us all to understand that any and all things are possible, that big things come in small packages, that the underdog shall have his day, right? The victory is certain to those who are patient, that it's never over until it's over. You feel me? It's going to come down to the last second. That height is not a determinant of success. That there's so many variables that you cannot prepare for, expect the unexpected. You dig what I'm saying? And spirit trumps all things. So if you are spirited as a competitor, if you have will and determination, if you have a vision for victory, if you already seen yourself win and you're just catching up to yourself, if you already projected yourself into that winner seat, onto that winner stage, holding up that winner's trophy, then there's nothing that can stand in the way of you finally seeing the day that you take your victory lap. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for participating in today's program. You can show some love over at $ Miss Harvey 917. That's the Cash App. Uh, First Lady of Mineral Ministries. Hold that down. $ Miss Harvey 917. And yes, send a love to my direct family in New York City. Be safe and responsible in your celebration. It's a city that's built on love. It is a village, so we do take care of one another in the village, and we do watch out for one another. And to me, I think that those are going to be the safest environments. I'm just saying, celebrate responsibly as well. You know, yeah, no, and the feeling of unbridled victory and celebration is something that people don't normally have limits for. They want to let themselves go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying cool as well. Whatever works for you. Just be responsible, right? Be safe, but stay dangerous. Thank you. I love you on behalf of Mineral Ministries. This is your brother, Minister Moreland, on behalf of Pope Pablo and Lion Gates Ministry. Shout out to my brother Angel. I want to extend my condolences to him as well on his loss. Um, my brother King Yuda. Uh, you know, and there's so many of my friends and family that were diehard New York Knicks fans that did not live in the physical to see this victory. I'm lighting a bunch of white, orange, and blue candles for you guys, and we're gonna bring you along this victory parade as well. No souls left behind. You know what I'm saying? We're all on the court celebrating this victory, right? Shout out to all of my quantum field niggas. This one is for us. You know what I'm saying? Those to refuse this, to ever say that it was all over. Those that was able to stand on our prophetic vision to say, yeah, this is the one. We got one this year. Shout out to my brother Carlo for giving some amazing 44 commentary throughout this series. Through all of the series, all of the teams playing all of the games, he was able to be the eyes, that I don't necessarily have in all of the realms dealing with sport. Appreciate that, brother. And again, it don't even matter if you're from somewhere other geographically in New York City. This celebration is extended to you. We're spreading love the Brooklyn way. We want the whole world to get in on this. This is all of y'all victory. You know what I'm saying? New York is open door to anyone who has love in their heart for triumph. You know what I'm saying? For anyone that can identify with the underdog. For anyone who has held on to faith and belief and has not quit the program. You know what I'm saying? This is for you. This victory is for the Davids over the Goliaths. All right. And with that, I want to say peace, love, and light. Let's stand with humanity against the aliens. No knock to them, but we are so much more, and we have a lot more to explore about the dynamics of our own mutant powers. Peace. And shout out to the Puerto Ricans. Happy Puerto Rican Day Parade. You know what I'm saying? Salute to y'all. Y'all are warriors. Salute. Peace, y'all.